chatting with director Max Korman today. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for taking the time today. Yeah.
What made you want to become a director?
That's a good question. I think it sort of happened organically a little bit. I'd always been interested in creative stuff growing up. And um, I think, yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think that once you kind of get an opportunity to do something um, you know, directory, for a musician or in general, and you just have that opportunity. And once I did that a few times, it was like, wow, that's super fun. And it felt like it was a combination of a lot of different disciplines and skill sets that I really enjoyed. So, and then just kind of, continued to do it. So that's pretty much, yeah, how I ended up doing that.
Are there any directors, whether it's movies, music, or anything like that, that you kind of looked at whenever you were going through your processes?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think my favorite directors are the ones that are like uh they're like designers. I feel like there's like some directors that come at it from different angles, but for me it's the directors that are like they storyboard everything, and they have very clear kind of concept at the top of it. And yeah, those are the ones that I feel like I gravitate towards the most, and I like their work the most. Yeah.
You directed two films that debuted at the Dances with Film Festival last week, and one of I want to kind of dissect both of them, and I don't, not from a music standpoint, but from a directing standpoint, because for me personally, I love the kind of the artistic craft that you had. But I'm gonna go one at a time.
Okay, cool.
I will talk about the Batman one, obviously, just based on the simple fact of the idea of the Batman thing. But I do love the blend of the very old school Batman artistically to kind of some new style formats. Kind of take me behind the idea of what the concept to create this video was.
Yeah, so the first thing was wanting to do right by the artist and by the song. Like if there was another artist, for instance, that made a song called Batman, that would probably end up being a different video, but for this particular group, there's five members, and they are definitely not a group that takes themselves particularly seriously. And so when you kind of factor all that in and you look through like the different ways Batman has been represented in music videos, but also just in film, like the idea of doing sort of an Adam West Batman just seemed to make too much sense not to do, because they have already built into that like a core cast of like a Robin and a Batman and a Joker and a Riddler in a very like kind of meaningful way that's not necessarily quite the case with some of the other iterations. Like the Dark Knight Batman is like, yeah, there's obviously a Joker and a Batman, but the Robin in that is less clear, and we just needed more characters for these members. So that kind of narrowed it down. And again, it's campy, and we're all in Los Angeles. So then that's where they filmed. That's where Gotham was in the 60s. And so we could like go to some of those locations that they filmed in, like Griffith Park and things like that, is where like the Batcave is and things. So yeah, and I also hadn't seen too many like Adam West Batman references in music videos. So it's like, this is kind of like an interesting like creative space to make something new, and is motivated again by the brand of the artist and the song.
So the other song, I this one kind of blew me away, because it's at first it feels like it's a lot, but at the same time it's like, oh wow, this is shot in a way that I had never really seen before.
Mm-hmm.
It's the song, the rapping all fast, but
Right.
you uniquely shoot this in a way. Take me behind the idea of why you shot it that way and how you shot it that way.
Yeah, so really quick, the concept behind it was also starting from the artist, and it was like um, I was really inspired talking to them about their origins growing up in Brooklyn, and the idea of like a Brooklyn rap group. Um, and we started talking about the Beastie Boys, which is also a Brooklyn-based rap group, and their music is quite different in a lot of ways. But um, I think that they have aspirations to be like the next, big uh, rap boy band group from Brooklyn. So I thought, as they're trying to continue that tradition in their own musical way, it'd be interesting to riff off of that visually because um, the Beastie Boys have such an iconic um, music video sort of style. And so looking back at those, you see your wide angle lenses, your matching outfits, retiming footage. So they're moving fast or moving slow. And it's like, okay, that's a really interesting thing to put up on our brainstorm mood board. And then particularly for this song, it's called YGB Rapping All Fast. It's about them, you know, having fun, rapping fast. And it's like, okay, let's try to like incorporate ideas of speed and motion and leverage some of those styles of the original Beastie Boys videos and see how that turns out, and did a bunch of prototyping, and that was kind of the core concept. But did you have a question also about how we filmed it?
Yeah, how did you shoot it as well? Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, this is pretty cool because I feel like I tell a lot of people, or I'll show the people the video and I'll ask how they thought we filmed it, and they'll say like, "Oh, did you use a drone to like follow?" And it's like, I don't know how we would do it with a drone. That'd be pretty tricky. But what we did was actually super simple. All we did was we took a 360 camera, which is basically two 180 like big fisheye lenses, which they didn't really have in the 90s. So I thought that was a nice extension of kind of that visual tradition. But you basically, it's just like a ball of camera, and you can just like screw it onto a tripod mount. And so in the box is like a plank of wood, and we drilled into it, and there's like a post coming like vertically out with the camera kind of sitting on top. But the way the camera works is that there's a very slight clipping that happens between the two cameras, because again there's two 180 cameras, and so you just hide the pole, so we didn't even have to do any post for that. So it just looked like it's kind of floating above the pizza, and they're as they carry it around. So filming it was just going to these locations that I thought would look interesting in sort of that tiny planet projection, and just then I couldn't even be too close to them because I'd be in the shot. And so I just monitored on my phone, and they kind of went off and just filmed it, and that was kind of that was it. It's pretty simple.
One of the things that when I was doing my research about you, and you had recently, you were recently in a magazine, and you said this, and I kind of wanted to figure out why this was so important to you. But one of the things that I read about you was you like to ensure the final product is an honest extension of the brand's identity.
Yeah.
At what point did you kind of learn how important that was to any project?
That's a good question. I think so. This is kind of like maybe like a bit of like a out of left field thing, but it's kind of like the main way I think about designing things, which is kind of unrelated to film directly, which is there's this industrial designer named Dieter Rams. I don't know if you've heard of him by chance, but uh, he has this whole set of design principles that's mostly about product design, which is something that I've done uh, as well, and it applies more directly to graphic design and product design. But he has these 10 principles, and it really influences Apple and how they design things. And the core concept behind his approach, I think, ultimately can be boiled down to trying to find like a solution to a problem, a design problem, where it feels like there could be no rational alternative, you know, and you kind of feel that with like an iPhone or a really great design product. It's like, wow, it's like, of course, it's like, there's really, how else could this have been? It just works. It's like simple. What would be better? What if you were to change something? And that's something I really aspire to in my work, is trying to achieve a solution, in a music video concept and execution, but also in other areas that feels like there couldn't have been any other option. And I try to do that to the best of my abilities with these two projects, trying to get to a point where it's like I really personally can't think of what would have been a better option based on our practical limitations and also the creative aspirations of this particular, again, this project. So and I think that, like, in terms of trying to achieve that solution without a rational alternative, you know, it kind of has to, like, it has to really incorporate the brand of the artist for it to totally click like a puzzle piece and feel right. Because if you don't do that, then it feels almost lazy, I think, because any artist could have made that video. And ultimately, I think, like, my role as a music video director is actually less that and more helping to be like a almost brand consultant, I guess, is even how I look at it, because I'm realizing this is kind of a long answer, but yeah, I mean, I think that going into these two projects, like, that was kind of my main goal, was like, let me help clarify their voice, and then let the video just be kind of a side effect of that, if that makes sense. All, again, within kind of the spirit of trying to make something that just clicks and feels right, as, you know, the best of my ability. So did that answer your question?
It does, because for me, it's like when you read something like that, me personally, you know, I watch hundreds of films a year, and it's to me, that's something, some sort of an answer that you would get somebody that's been doing it for like 100 years, right? You know what I mean? You find it along the way. So for me, it was kind of impressive to understand that, yeah, you want to put your stamp on the work, but you want to make sure that the artist that you're working with has their, you know, it's their brand, you know, at the same time. So
Totally.
it's a good balance of a mix that I really kind of enjoyed within that answer that you provided. So it was really nice.
Okay, cool.
One thing that I liked about the direction, like I said, is different and unique. Do you have any aspirations to kind of explore that in the world of film?
Yeah, totally, aspirations to get more into narrative film and things like that. Yeah, I think it's kind of a similar process in a way, in that, but you're flipping out, you know, a song for, you know, a screenplay of like how can you serve that the best that you can in a way that's surprising and also motivated. So yeah, totally.
Are there any upcoming projects or anything like that you're working on that you can let us know about?
Yeah, definitely working on a few more music video projects, which I'm looking forward to. And then also having kind of before COVID, I was actually doing a lot of performing and like doing improv and things like that. And hopefully getting back into more this performance stuff. Really enjoy that.
Yeah. So one last question for you is, how have you found yourself staying creative during this time?
Yeah, I think, well, these videos ended up being a good outlet for that, to be able to, like, you know, continue working, which was fun. But yeah, I mean, in general, it's been harder to, like, come together and meet people. But all in all, yeah, just trying to, like, keep just staying engaged with great art that people are making, and yeah, and kind of disappearing into these projects and making them as good as possible. So pretty much, yeah.